News 12 Sports is brought to you in part by Papa John's Pizza.
If you love racing, Daytona, USA is the place to be this week, and that's where you'll find our Paul Davis.
And he dressed up nicely for the occasion. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing rather well, and I can say the same for the folks who raced today, practiced today, for the big race coming up this Sunday. February 14th happens to be, I guess what, Valentine's Day. This is the final of 3 speed weeks, and I'm telling you, we'll be here all week long, and I'm just happy to be here. Over the weekend, you know that Jeff Gordon grabbed the pole for the race on Sunday, and Tony Stewart also nailed down the number 2 spot alongside row number 1 alongside Mr. Jeff Gordon. I want to do a Dale Earnhardt flashback, if you will. Let me show you last year, and who will ever forget this. After 20 years of trying, in his 20th year, the Intimidator was able to do the donuts in the infield as he won the Great American Race. All the teams lined up victory lane to shake his hand. It was only his only victory all of last year, so it didn't propel him to greatness, but he was sure glad to get it. We bumped into him today near his transport. Back here, having gotten that monkey off the back a year ago. I know you've been asked it 100 times.
Yeah, that question I've had. Yeah, it was good. We were ready to race. We went out and practiced some this morning. The car feels good. So just waiting to run the qualifying race and see how it goes.
Chevy may make a change in the May or June. They're not sure now. How do you feel about that makeover for the Monte Carlo?
Well, I think it's going to be good if we get the car. NASCAR is sort of using politics on us right now. We'll see.
Okay, Dale. And Dale, always polite and courteous when the fans ask him for a souvenir or an autograph, he goes ahead and signs on the dotted line. Let me also talk about what happened here yesterday, the Bud Shootout. Let's show you Mark Martin coming down the home stretch. Remember, this involved all the pole winners from a year ago. Martin lives here at Daytona Beach now, and it's hard to believe that this was his first ever individual victory at this super speedway. And remember, he is working with a herniated disc. It's got to be killing him. Yeah, I've been reading about the pain you've been going through. Could you bring us up to date? How tough is the disc problem now, today?
It's not too bad today. I have good days and bad days, you know. I have to just be careful.
Do you have anything that you developed that you do in the morning to help make your day go easier that way, loosen up and stuff?
Lift weights.
Do you?
Yeah, just like before. Life goes on, you know.
Chances this year to win this race in a paragraph or less?
We have a chance. That's something different than last year, so I'm happy about that.
Car's got to be doing pretty good for you based upon your weekend.
It's going well so far. I can't wait to get going.
Mark Martin, a man of 1,000 words, just like Dale Earnhardt today. Did you sense that maybe they weren't in a talkative mood, maybe towards the weekend as we get close to the big race on Sunday? Coming up at 6, only here on News 12, and a wedding today in Victory Lane. I was a part of it. I wasn't the best man, but we were the only camera persons and photographers and reporters there. We'll have that at 6. At 11 o'clock tonight, I go one-on-one with Jeff Burton. He races for Jack Roush Racing. He's Mark Martin's teammate, and he is an up-and-coming star on the NASCAR scene. Tom and Carlin, the only problem I have right now is figuring out where we'll do dinner.
We can figure that out.
He's got plenty of choices. We'll let you know.
Right. Coming up on Critter Corner next, the Shadow knows she's looking for a home.
But first, here's a preview of what's coming up on Inside Edition.
A can't-miss world exclusive. O.J. Simpson's first serious girlfriend since Nicole's death speaks out. Watch the next Inside Edition.
It's sweepstakes time. Your home can look brand new with our Ultimate 2000 windows and siding. Our windows tilt in for easy cleaning with our vinyl siding you'll never paint again.
Call now to win. So 58 would be just about normal. It's amazing. 58 normal, and here we are in the mid to upper 70s.
It's balmy out there.
It's weird.
Yes.
All right, Bob, thanks.
Thank you, Bob.
The Nike Tour may be the minor league of golf, but a win there yesterday was major news for a local golfer.
Lachlan McLean has highlights and reaction next in Sports Plus. Paul Davis reports from Daytona.
Up next on News 12, Lachlan McLean and sports, and I'll have a tearful situation today in Victory Lane at Daytona. Stay tuned.
Paul is getting to know that trip to Florida pretty well by now.
Yeah, we're getting these video postcards back, aren't we?
Well, we already heard from Paul live at 5 o'clock.
Yep.
His first day there, he already had a one-on-one with Dale Earnhardt. You saw that at 5. One-on-one with Mark Martin. I mean, so we know we're going to get great coverage all week long. It continues today, and they call the Daytona 500 the Great American Race. So we sent the great American sportscaster to go cover it. Paul Davis joined us live at 5. Now he's back with more from Daytona.
Locke, thank you very much, and you're not going to believe this. The first thing we film here at Daytona Speedway is a man and a woman saying their I do's, their foreverness together, bonded here today at the Daytona Speedway. What a great way for us to start our week off.
You could say that again. While Monday morning practice runs own the track, this young couple from Gainesville, Georgia, had victory lane all to themselves. Doug and Allison Ellison met 2 years ago at a race in Atlanta. He's the one who had the idea of tying the knot at Victory Lane during Speed Weeks. Daytona's known for its great race finishes over the years. I guess this sort of thing's been going on for a while as well.
Actually, no. This is something that we're just now getting into doing.
Mr. Ellison is an avid Dale Earnhardt fan. He almost had to shed the jacket when Jeff Burton stopped by, courtesy of the Speedway, to offer his congratulations. I guess the wedding pictures will take on extra value should he win the race on Sunday.
Locke, I hope you enjoyed that. I've got to go because I've been invited to have some wedding cake. More from the Speedway here in Daytona tonight, here on News 12. At Daytona, I'm Paul Davis for News 12 Sports.
Thank you very much, Paul. And what's the...
Can I have fries with that?
Yeah.
Augusta State basketball hope to shoot down the Rifles of USC Spartanburg tonight.
Lachlan's got the highlights on the way in sports. Plus, Paul Davis continues our extensive coverage of Speed Week 99. Tonight, a look at one of the top contenders for the Daytona 500. Meet Jeff Burton. Coming up next. But first, scores from the NBA.
Speed Week in Daytona, and News 12 is there.
That's right. This kind of kicks off NASCAR.
Yeah, the weird thing, they have their Super Bowl to start the season. This is the biggest event of the year, so we give it the most coverage with our own Paul Davis. And at 5 o'clock, Paul talked one-on-one with Dale Earnhardt, also with Mark Martin. For tonight's report, he tracked down another big-name driver, Jeff Burton. Here's Paul's latest report from the Daytona 500.
If Mark Martin is Jack Roush's marquee driver, then Jeff Burton is the team's rising star. The number 99 Taurus has been spectacular the last couple years. 4th in points, 1997, 5th last year.
After 2 years of being in the top 5 in points, we want to try to step it up and really go into the last race of the year contending for the championship, and that's what our goal is.
Of course, if the 24 car picks up where it left off last year and in qualifying Saturday, then everybody else is driving for second place.
You know, I don't have a goal to go out and beat Jeff Gordon because of some personal vendetta. The 24 car has been the best car on the circuit for the last 2 years, and if you're going to be the best team in anything, you've got to try to beat the best team, and that's where they are.
Burton's only win last year saw him holding off Gordon in New Hampshire. Did I mention he posted 18 top 5s? That sure keeps things from getting boring.
And when you wake up in the morning and you like going to work, you're fortunate. And when you forget that, then it's time to maybe quit, because this is supposed to be fun. Right. You're supposed to have fun when you go to work, and I'm still having a lot of fun.
Jeff Burton was 11th fastest Saturday in qualifying. He wants badly to exorcise last year's 40th place finish in the Great American Car Race. For News 12 Sports at Daytona, I'm Paul Davis. Hi, everybody. Sports Tonight live from the Daytona Motor Speedway. I'm Paul Davis, and it's been another good day for the guys getting ready for the big race this weekend. I can tell you that Kenny Schrader has the pole for the Saturday Busch Grand National race. He knocked off Randy LaJoie from that pole position. Let me go ahead and roll a tape that should bring back memories of November when Jeff Gordon won his 3rd NASCAR Points Championship. Remember the rainy day, and then fast forward to this week, and just 10 weeks off for these NASCAR guys. I was wondering, do they have enough time to recharge their batteries? I think not.
You hit it right, Paul. We were just in Atlanta in November. I mean, you know, by the time Christmas and Thanksgiving comes around, you try to visit your family and friends, do your Christmas shopping, try to get a vacation in there. Automatically, it starts testing. So I think that I really, really would like to schedule cut back some. It's not going to happen, though.
Is there not enough time, or is there enough time off? Last time we were together was November, the long day and the end of the season.
52 weeks a year, man, is how many days we need to race. If the team could stand it, I'd be there.
Is that right?
That's exactly right.
I got a comment I read in a local paper this morning, Jimmy Vassar said that this is like the World Wrestling Federation. Let me tell you, Mr. Vassar, bring your ass on. Get it in a Winston Cup car sometime and try it.
Leave it to me and News 12 to stir up trouble down here at Daytona. Of course, Jimmy Vassar is a renowned driver on the IndyCar circuit. Coming up at 6 here on News 12, only on News 12, Terry Labonte, the Iron Man of NASCAR. I love this guy. You'll like the story. And 11 o'clock tonight, a favorite son of the CSRA, Lyndon Amick from Batesburg, brings us up to speed on his heroics in the Busch Grand National Series. Tom and Carlin, 2 regrets here at Daytona. Number 1, I didn't invest in any earplugs. And number 2, we forgot the sunscreen. I'm getting a major burn.
Hey, but you're keeping your body protected. That's okay, then.
Oh, sunscreen is a necessity, believe me, anytime you go to Florida, any time of the year.
Tom, I can hardly hear you. I'm losing it already.
Okay.
We'll check back in with you when you can hear, possibly at 6 o'clock. Thanks, Paul.
It is hot, hot, hot here at Daytona. Coming up in sports, I'll have a report on NASCAR's Terry Labonte. Stay tuned.
Welcome to sports. Let's talk NASCAR. Who was the last driver other than Jeff Gordon to win a Winston Cup title? None other than Texas Terry Labonte. Here's Paul Davis with more from Daytona.
Locke, thank you very much. I'm standing outside the garage area for the number 5 Chevrolet Monte Carlo. That would be the one, the only Terry Labonte. Of all the drivers that I knew I'd have to meet this week, he topped my list. The guy is he's spectacular, I think. Here's more. Okay. What's different about Terry Labonte? Check out the upper lip. The stash is gone, but his dogged determination isn't, nor his love for Daytona. He's been coming here a long, long time.
But I can remember when I came down here, my first Daytona 500. No, it wasn't the first one. About the second one. Probably my son was born, and he turned 18 Friday. So it's like, well, I guess I am getting older.
Terry is the second wheel for Team Hendrick, an operation shooting for an unprecedented 5th consecutive points championship. Terry's won once, Gordon 3.
We don't ever talk about it, you know. I mean, we just, you know, we won a championship. Jeff has won 3 of them. So we gotta step it up a notch. You know, we're gonna get back up in there and try to beat them for that championship.
16 times in the last 20 years, Labonte has finished in the top 10 final point standings, but the number he's most proud of, 602. That's 602 consecutive races he's run. He's the Iron Man. 20 years without missing a race. Do you ever see it ending, man?
Well,
I mean, that's awesome.
You know, I think about it, I really can't believe myself that I've been racing that long, because it doesn't seem that long. It seems like it wasn't that long ago the first time I came to Daytona.
And in case you've forgotten, Terry Labonte started on the outside of row 1 last year in the 500. He bears that label like so many of them do. A great race car driver, never to have won Daytona. Maybe this is his year. For News 12 Sports in Daytona, Florida, I'm Paul Davis. Belongs to Batesburg's Lyndon Amick. I'm Paul Davis. Up next in sports, we'll give you an update, and Lachlan will have the rest of the day in sports. Stay tuned.
Local guy in Daytona.
Guy's doing really well, huh?
Yeah, you think these drivers are sort of big names, but you realize everyone's got to come from somewhere, and one of them comes from around here. So that's our top story tonight. Batesburg, South Carolina's Lyndon Amick has driven down victory lane before at Daytona. He won the Goodies Dash race there a few years back. This year, he hopes to return to the winner's circle in his Busch Grand National ride. In tonight's News 12 report from Daytona, Paul has more on Lyndon and his racing family.
But I blame it on his mother. His mom told me I needed to do something that he liked to do, and at the time he was racing go-karts, so that's how it all started.
Thanks, Dad, for that, and come on, Lyndon, your parents are counting on you. In his 5th full year of pro racing, Amick looking for a breakout year after a so-so 98 in the Busch ranks. In 12 starts, 4th place, his best finish. He wants his name in headlines.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's our expectations. We got everything in place, we feel like, to be in that position at the end of this year, hopefully be in the top 15 in points and have some good races. And, you know, we gotta be consistent. That's the main thing.
What kind of pressure are you feeling to bounce back this year?
Well, there's always pressure. Pressure I put on myself, pressure your sponsors put on you, pressure your team puts on you, or vice versa. I mean, I got all the pressure in the world, and it's all up to me what I do with it.
AMIC does this race thing now thanks to new sponsors PowerTel and Ericsson, and there's a supportive woman behind the man, too.
For a guy who's got wedding plans for August the 8th, is she a local girl?
Well, she's from Johnston, South Carolina. I'm racing on Friday night. We're getting married on Sunday, so.
I mean, where do you find the time to help her make the plans? Because there's lots of them.
Where I can, I guess. We talk on the phone a lot about it because she's still going to Clemson.
So if Team AMIC can work out all the bugs this year, expect a better season on the Busch Grand National Series. For News 12 Sports at Daytona, I'm Paul Davis.
One thing is definitely certain, the Sunshine State is living up to its name this week.
Yet another beautiful day in Daytona, Florida. And soaking in the sun, News 12's Paul Davis. He joins us now live from the Speedway. Take it away, Paul.
Tom, thank you very much. I have to tell you, it was a different feeling here today at Daytona Speedway. Fans starting to grab up all those choice spots on the infield or in the infield for Sunday's big race. And I think the drivers were a tad on edge because, you know, tomorrow they have those two races. They call them the Twin 125s, and they will set positions 3 through 30 for the 500 on Sunday, a race you can see here on News 12. But here I go again, looking back to last year. Let me go ahead and show you again. Dale Earnhardt fans, you must love me. But today, from an owner's perspective, think of all the years of hard work and worry that Richard Childress went through before he finally got the Intimidator number 3 in victory lane. He had to feel good too. I ran into him this morning and we had a little talk. Here's what he had to say.
How much chest pushing out have you been able to do this week for the first time in years? Here.
Well, you know, you don't want to boast or nothing. You know, we're just proud to win that Daytona 500 and keep you guys from keep asking us when you're going to win it. So we've answered a lot of times, can you do it again? And the answer is, yeah, I think we can. You know, we've got 2 cars that's really good, and we're going to see how it comes out. We're in good shape. This morning in practice, he went out there and went right to the front and led the pack. That's what we wanted to see. We're going to be good Sunday.
And is it accurate, the stuff we've been reading, that Dale Earnhardt has decided to pull away from his commitments a little bit more and be with this team more to have a better chance at a better season?
Well, I think he's got a lot of things in place now, and you know, he's really committed. If you look at him, he's in good shape. He's lost weight. He's got muscled up. He's ready to go. We're ready to go as a team.
I can tell you that Richard Childress got a little uptight with me. I suggested that their wintertime testing here about 4 or 5 weeks ago wasn't so hot. They were only like 30th fastest, or slowest, if you will. But he says to me, hey, Davis, on Saturday in qualifying, we were the 10th fastest out here. So they have, in fact, made up some ground, and they are primed and ready for the big race on Sunday. And remember, John Elway got his first Super Bowl a year ago. Earnhardt was playing off of that last year. Elway got another Super Bowl trophy, maybe an omen for Earnhardt this Sunday. Coming up at 6, only on News 12, John Andretti, who of course drives for Richard Petty. You're going to like that story. And 11, I got a feature on a guy who lives here in Daytona. He'll be a rookie, hopefully, in the race on Sunday. And you talk about an interesting story. He worked here as a kid selling newspapers. Quickly, the IROC race has lost Al Unser Jr. He's gone back to Albuquerque. He has a sick child there. So NASCAR's Bobby Labonte replaces Unser in a couple of days in the IROC. Tom and Carlin, wish you were here. I think we're headed for the beach.
Well, you have fun, but you have to come back at 6.
Take off your suit first, right?
He is the nephew of one of the greatest drivers of all time. He works for another one of the greatest drivers of all time. He is John Andretti. Today, Paul Davis caught up with John at Daytona.
John Andretti has to be one of the nicest guys in NASCAR. In his second full season with the renowned Petty Enterprises team, the Indy native still counting his blessings.
When I joined this team, I mean, they've all been together, and all I did is have to come in and sit in the driver's seat. So, you know, it's a really solid team, and I enjoy being there.
Andretti's racing portfolio is well-rounded, from Indy cars, the Rolex Endurance Race, and NHRA Top Fuel.
Fortunately for me, I'm one of the guys that I love racing and I love being around race cars, so if I wasn't making a living at it, I'd still be doing it, so all the better that I make a living at it.
With a name like Andretti, we shouldn't be surprised. His dad, Aldo, is the legendary Mario Andretti's twin brother. But it doesn't sound like he and his uncle have all that many chats about racing.
When I won the Pepsi 400, he called me and that night at my house, and we started reminiscing about his '67 Daytona 500 win. So I haven't heard much from him, but back then when that happened, I heard from him. It was exciting.
Is it tough working for the king?
Oh yeah, it's real hard.
Does he bust your chops much?
I'll tell you what.
What's that like, X's and O's? Does he take you aside and say, I don't know why you're doing that, or why you're doing this, or you need to do that?
Richard Petty hires people to do their job, and if they're not doing the job, he doesn't come tell them how to do it. He just changes them.
Case closed.
That's it.
John Andretti finished 11th in last year's point standings. He's got 159 NASCAR races under his belt. I think he's on the verge of major stardom. For News 12 Sports at Daytona, I'm Paul Davis.
Remember what a great story it was when Augusta native Larry Mize won the Masters? Well, the same thing could happen this year at the Daytona 500. Here's Paul Davis with tonight's Speed Week report.
Don't look for the name Dan Pardis in any of the racing publications. You won't find a word. He's this week's mystery man. But Daytona Speedway is no mystery to him. Heck, he's a local. As a kid, some guys are dabbling in Little League baseball and football, and we find you here.
Yep. You know, when I was a kid, like I say, I used to play in the pits there, and I sold newspapers up there when I was a kid. You know, when I was 10 and 12 years old, and I always dreamed, you know, to drive a Winston Cup car around this racetrack. And, you know, my dreams come reality.
At 35, Pardis is no spring chicken anymore. And after cutting his racing teeth in Goody's Dash and ARCA, his career took a detour.
From about 21 to 27, I had to quit racing, started my own cable business, put underground cable in, dug ditches, that type of thing, had my own business for 11 years. But about halfway through that deal, I decided to get back into racing. That's when I started in the Dash Series. Richard Petty was my hero when I was running, Bobby Allison and all them guys, and they're walking right around here with us today, and it's a good feeling, I tell you.
Pardis needs to step it up to be here Sunday, a sluggish 30th in Saturday qualifying.
We've made the car a lot better this morning. I went out there and danced this morning with a few good cars, and they don't mind riding with me if the car's good. So I just got to use my head, keep my nose clean, and don't do nothing stupid out here. Of course, I'm a rookie this year, so if anything happens, it's going to be my fault, of course. So.
Dan Pardis is 35. Should he make the field on Sunday, he'd be the oldest rookie racing. And considering he's from Daytona Beach, he could make the hometown crowd real proud. For News 12 Sports at the Speedway, I'm Paul Davis.
Thank you. It is one of the most exciting days of Speed Week, the twin qualifying races.
They set the order for spots 3 through 30 on Sunday. Joining us now live from Daytona to talk about what happened is our own Paul Davis. Paul, what's the story?
Tom and Laurie, thank you very much. Behind me, the main straightaway for the Daytona Speedway, and the track surface was red hot today. Let me show you qualifier number 1 today. This would be turn 1, lap 1. Dan Pardis, John Andretti, and Jeff Green get into each other, get into the wall. Jeff Green is the guy who won't make the 500 on Sunday. 12 laps to go now. Bobby Labonte passes Jeff Gordon, and that's all she wrote. It's Labonte, Gordon, and Jeff Burton, 1, 2, 3. Here's what Bobby said in Victory Lane.
Gordon got a little bit of run on us, and I had some help from behind, and made on the outside and kind of pinched Jeff off on some lap cars there. Didn't pinch him off, but he ended up with some lap cars on the bottom. He probably had to lift a little bit. And Schrader behind me and Sterling back there, and you know, everybody just kind of pushed me a little bit, and I got in front.
Twin qualifier number 2, Dale Earnhardt moves from 5th to 2nd, just 2 laps in. Dale Earnhardt takes the lead on lap 5. It was clean air from there. Bye-bye, Tony Stewart. the Intimidators' 10th straight 125 win. As always, very humble in victory lane.
This race team right here is the reason we did it. This is a brand new race car, and they worked awful hard on it through the winter testing and building the car. And we had the one that we ran down here last October, and I felt good about it, but they said this one's a little better.
Those who did not make the field today of note, well, one guy, Dick Trickle, won't be in the 500 on Sunday. Provisionals, guys who had to rely on all sorts of crazy formulas to make the field. Dave Marcus will make his 32nd consecutive start. Bill Elliott starts 37th. Johnny Benson will be in by a provisional. Darrell Waltrip will start last, and Brett Bodine gets in by way of a provisional as well. You're wondering, who are these guys? Well, they hail from what? Virginia, Illinois. They all have one thing in common, besides the gut like me. They love Dale Earnhardt, right? So Tom and Laurie, this is the company. If my wife is watching it and my kids, this is the company I'm keeping here at the Daytona Speedway. It'll be more practice tomorrow, practicing on Saturday, and then on CBS by way of News 12, the big race on Sunday.
That's right. We have a whole weekend full of racing. We'll have those twin 125s on Saturday, along with the Busch race on Saturday, and then, of course, the big show Sunday about noontime.
Paul, I don't know about those guys, but who's watching who? Who's in charge behind you?
Well, I just met these guys, and they've invited me for their dinner plans, and I'm not so sure I'm going to make that. Coming up at 6. At 6, we've got more of the infield fun today. Had a blast, although I had a bad cinnamon roll. And at 11 o'clock tonight, well, the cinnamon rolls are usually great down here, but today they were kind of cold. At 11, we're going to have Jeremy Mayfield, who was 3rd last year in the 500. But you guys having a good time? Yeah. Say hello to Augusta, Georgia. Yeah. Half of them are drunk. Back to you.
Doesn't look like any of them have missed a cinnamon roll either.
Down in Daytona, and Paul Davis is there.
This is Paul Davis in Daytona. Coming up later in sports, I'll show you what it was like to be in the infield for the 125s.
Welcome to Sports for NASCAR fans. Thursday at Daytona means double your pleasure, double your fun. The twin qualifying races. Here's Paul Davis with a complete report from the Speedway.
Forget today's twin qualifiers. These fans looking ahead to Sunday. Let's hope traffic control is better then. It took us almost 2 hours to drive through the hollow tunnels. Once inside, a race fan's dream. Pit Road as a brand new NASCAR season set to be born.
Everybody's got the jitters.
That's what it's all about.
10-4.
Oh my gosh, that's Ray Evernham, and that must be Brooke and Jeffrey. If things are always much clearer up on the roof, then folks in the infield, as always, prime time spots.
This is Brian from Pennsylvania, and this cellular phone, is it?
No, sir.
What are you doing with this thing?
Listen to the drivers as they go around the track. Listen to the announcer, whatever.
You got a physique like me, Peanut.
Hey, I'll tell you, it takes 60 years to get that.
You got to work on this gut, man.
No. Hey, it took time to get it. I'm going to keep it now. It's paid for.
In the first race, trouble in turn 1, lap 1. John Andretti, Jeff Green, and Dan Partis into each other. That was the only mishap. 4 laps run under caution. With 12 laps to go, Bobby Labonte took the high road past Jeff Gordon, and that's how she ended, with Jeff Burton taking 3rd.
You know, everybody just kind of pushed me a little bit, and I got in front, and we were just able to stay up there. I mean, the car worked real good, and we just were able to stay on the bottom of the racetrack and block them off like we needed to there at the end.
Qualifier number 2, we should have figured Dale Earnhardt was in the field, and he moved to the head of the class just 5 laps in. Pure domination from there for his 10th straight Twins win. Mayfield was 2nd, Dale Jarrett 3rd.
Well, that's pretty awesome. You know, 10, all of them in the 90s. That's a feat I don't know that anyone could think they could do.
So the field is set for Sunday's Great American Race. As for the banner of the day today here in the infield, the winner of the 500 gets Monica. Now that is a scary thought. For News 12 Sports at the Speedway, I'm Paul Davis.
So who's the driver risking the Paul Davis jinx tonight? It's rising star Jeremy Mayfield. Here's Paul with more from Daytona.
The Kentuckian who drives the Mobil 1 wants to be number 1. Jeremy Mayfield is in his 6th full NASCAR season. The 1993 ARCA Rookie of the Year has already topped $4 million in career earnings. He won his first race with the big boys last June at Pocono. He sees good things around the bend for he and Crane Fuss Penske teammate Rusty Wallace.
Man, it's going to be a dream team. It is for both of us. You know, we just haven't showed the potential both these teams got, and working real hard on that. We're going to, it's just a matter of time. Both of us going to be up front week in and week out. And, you know, I think with you can just see the results of last year, what the potential this team's going to have for the future.
Potential is one thing, performance is another. Jeff Gordon and Team Hendrick have raised the bar for everybody.
Do race car drivers study videotape of races to look for tendencies like football player and baseball players?
A little bit. I mean, you try to get all you can get and look at everything you look at attitude of cars, and just try different things.
Jeff Gordon, he can be caught, can he?
We're catching him. We're working on it.
Since 1995, Mayfield has finished 31st, 26th, 13th, and 7th in the final point standings. And as far as the Great American Race,
Jeremy, top 5 last year in this race, right?
Right. Top 5 again this year. Thank you.
He's a cocky kind of a guy. Yeah, he can talk the talk because Mayfield walked the walk last year. A third-place finish in '98 in the 500. For News 12 Sports at the Speedway, I'm Paul Davis.
When he was at the Super Bowl, Paul Davis reported from the side of the pool.
Well, it's only natural when he's in Daytona, he will report from the side of the ocean. Paul joins us now with his latest Speed Week report. Paul.
Tom and Laurie, thank you very much, and I don't mean to rub it in, but we are at the edge of the Atlantic Ocean. Done lots of great bonding this week, met and have talked to many of the great names in NASCAR. We've also made some new friends, met some unfamiliar faces. I find Stanton Barrett very intriguing. Here's more. Stanton who? That would be Stanton Barrett, who at age 7 watched his dad make worldwide headlines by setting what was then the new land speed record in a Budweiser rocket car, 739 miles per hour, Mach 101, the speed of sound.
You're out having fun, getting out of school to watch them go down this dry lake at 700 miles an hour in this cool red car. We didn't know anything, you know, it's just cool.
What's cool about Stanton is that he's worked the last several years in Hollywood as a stuntman.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of stunts, a little bit of acting, but mainly stunts.
Batman.
Did Batman, did a lot of motorcycle stuff in Batman for the last Batman that was out, and that was a great fun movie to work on for about a month.
Like any NASCAR star wannabe, this kid had to pull double duty last year, holding down that stuntman's gig and trying to lure in sponsors for 99.
I just would go work on movies for 10, 12 hours at night or during the day and come back and work another, 5, 6, 8 hours, whatever it took to make phone calls or send out proposals to companies and stay in contact with people and get a few hours of sleep and go back to the next movie set on the next show or the same show and just keep doing that.
Stanton Barrett is shooting for 16 races on the Winston Cup circuit this year. That would be just enough to make him eligible for the Rookie of the Year trophy chase.
Really enjoy the car racing and believe I have a talent for it, and I enjoy competing, and it's something that I can make a good career for a long time.
Young Stanton Barrett worked his butt off to get to this level, be on the verge of a NASCAR career, and even though he's not in the field for this Sunday's 500, his drive and determination should have him back here next year vying for a spot. For News 12 Sports at Daytona Beach, I'm Paul Davis.
Okay, Paul, what a life.
Oh, what a great...
Now, if they call you yellow at Daytona, it doesn't mean you're scared. It's just the mark of a rookie driver. Paul Davis caught up with one of the more promising rookies for tonight's Speed Week report.
Just a couple of NASCAR races, period, under your belt. How are you going to stick with these big boys?
I don't know, but if you found out an answer, how about you give me a holler?
Elliott Sadler is some character, huh? What a southern accent for the rookie from Emporia, Virginia. He loves to hunt and fish, loves to dream of NASCAR's winner's circles. In 2 Busch Grand National seasons, he's won 5 races, but now he's in the majors.
I'm inexperienced. I'm younger than some of the people's sons and daughters these guys I'm racing against got here in racing, and a lot of these guys been racing longer than I've been born, so very inexperienced I am, but we're going to do what we can to try to keep up with them.
Sadler just did make Sunday's 500 field, and like all the rookies, his car flagged by a big yellow stripe on the back bumper. Courtesy on the track, do you feel obligated because you are a rookie to maybe give way in certain situations when back at the Busch Series you wouldn't have given way?
Probably, yeah. I think you have to pay your dues no matter what circuit you're in. And, you know, there's a lot of veterans here running for the Winston Cup Championship. And me, I'm just trying to get some time in this series, try to run for Rookie of the Year. And, yeah, we have to be very careful. That big yellow stripe on the back of that car means that we're labeled already before we get out here.
Does anybody ever kid you, rib you about your accent?
Yes, everywhere. So I guess I can add your name to the list now.
Elliott Sadler doesn't know much about the Daytona 500's early year history here at the edge of the Atlantic, but he does know that a win on Sunday would be shocking for the rest of the NASCAR world and would provide a major jump start for his young career. For News 12 Sports at the beach, I'm Paul Davis.